and in the environment and people's health. Until
Ben
justice
Catch
stands
Scalzo and Brust weekdays 4 to 6 on 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. Showtime. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Do you believe the Bucks can win 3 in a row? Do you think they will win 3 in a row?
Duh.
Yeah, I knew Gabe was going to say that. I'm uncomfortable. I think they can win tonight.
That's where the learning happens, Jen. On the edge of uncomfortable.
The Heat with a chance to play come from behind ball. Butler hits the 3, and we are even. It is deja vu all over again, ladies and gentlemen.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Saying Heat and 6 or
I'm not
going to
say they lose. I'm with Jen. I don't feel good.
Holds the ball outstretched. Lobs it up for Butler. Butler catches it and hits it at the horn. Up close. The Bucks were not expecting it.
Where is this confidence coming from?
Yeah, they were the best team. This is what he is. They were the best team during the regular season.
Well, but it's not even just that. It's the core that they had last year that was so good. And the
I will
year
say
before
this,
that,
though,
like,
guys.
they've been so good.
Passes out to Butler. 2:52 to go in overtime. Jimmy Butler defended by Holiday. Pulls up. Got it. 17-footer. Chris feeds out to Allen. Allen's got to get a shot off. He doesn't get it off. The game is over, and so is the season for the number 1 seed in these NBA playoffs.
And we just got to feel it now. You know, got to use this as motivation. Hopefully we can come back next year and be better.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamorro. Here's Jen Latta.
Running her mouth, she wants to ride it, she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like he wanna fight, he ain't doing nothing but running his mouth.
I don't know what happened last night, but it was bad. And I think it will end up ranking amongst one of the most disappointing endings to a season in recent Wisconsin sports history. And there has been a lot of disappointment there. I'm Greg Scalzo in for Jen Latta. No Gabe Neitzel. You get a little Scalzo and Chewy today. I'm hanging out with the big guy.
Couple of massholes.
That's right. And of course,
say that. Oh, sorry. I tried.
He can say that, no?
Ashton has.
Ashton
has
puts
his
the
own
line
set
at
of
a certain
rules.
place.
He's so nervous. We love him, though.
Ashton Rotman, Mark Chumura, myself, Greg Scalzo, 2 big guys, 1 little guy, and 1 massive disappointment as the Bucks fall in 5 games as the number 1 seed in the entire NBA to the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler once again puts on a show, 42 points in the overtime loss for the Bucks. Bucks end up horrible from the free throw line. There's so many different disappointing moments that you could point to in this game, but all you have to say is that this team, as the best regular season team in the NBA, dropped the series in 5 games, Chewy, to a Miami Heat team that was missing one of their top 2 players in Tyler Hero.
Embarrassing. That is, and you just said potentially the worst. I think it is the worst loss in Wisconsin history. I mean, you go to the Packers losing to the 49ers in the first round of the playoffs when the Packers were the clear-cut number 1. They were favored to win the Super Bowl. But this was the 8th seed who, during the regular season, was a horrible team, and they beat them in 5. Blown away. So I went into last night's game. I'm like, I don't need to watch this. I said, and we were just talking, I'm like, the game is game 6, right? Miami at home. Giannis plays last game, plays pretty well. I thought he'd come in and dominate, and they just crap down their leg. Unbelievable.
It's not just the what, but I think it's the how, right? You go back to that 2014 loss of the Green Bay Packers to the Seattle Seahawks. It wasn't just that they lost that game, it was how they lost that game.
But it was the NFC Championship game.
It was. I'm saying, though, it makes it that much worse. And when you're the Bucks in the last 2 games of the series, when you have Giannis and you lose both games in Game 4 in Miami and Game 5 in Milwaukee, they lost each fourth quarter by 16 points alone.
Yeah.
16 points. They lost the fourth quarter yesterday at Fiserv Forum. They went into overtime. The last play of the game, I know Jimmy Butler pushed off. It should have been a foul call. It wasn't. Before that, Drew Holiday missed a free throw, the front end of his free throws. The Bucks were up 1. They probably should have intentionally missed that and tried to figure out a way to extend it because there's only 2 seconds left on the clock. And when he made that, they go up 2, and it allowed Eric Spoelstra to call a timeout, and it allowed them to draw up a play, which made the Bucks look foolish. And then just absolutely lifeless performance in overtime for the Milwaukee Bucks, and the game and the season ends in the hands of Grayson Allen, who had a wide open lane and could have pulled up at any point, but literally had the shot clock run out with the ball in his hands. So that it's not only the what, it's not only the loss in the first round, it's not only to who they lost, it's not only to the fact that this team was built to win in this moment, and the questions surrounding the future of Chris Middleton, the future of Brook Lopez, the future of what the core of this team will become surrounding Giannis, but it's the how and the fact that you had such disappointment these last 2 losses to get to this spot where their season is done.
I don't understand the lack of intensity. Now, I understand it when you're going back to back, because going back to the 90s, obviously we went back to back, lose to Denver. We weren't as hungry, which is kind of crazy to say when you're playing in the Super Bowl. I don't know. We kind of felt entitled being there. But this team won it 2 years ago. I mean, you would be thinking they would be inspired to have a dynasty. I think this team was better than the team roster-wise when they won it all. Would you agree with that or no?
It's very similar, right? They lose P.J. Tucker, but you have Jay Crowder and
they just seem
uninspired. Grayson Allen.
Yeah. Which leads me to say I think there's going to be some real estate on Okachi Lake because there will be a house going up for sale.
I don't know about that.
Who lives in Okachi Lake, Chewy?
Guy that can't park a boat, Coach Bud. You don't think he gets fired? I mean, this is embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, absolutely. But he won the championship 2 years ago. They put up the best record, and I know it's a regular season record, but they are a top team. They were the favorite. They were the betting favorite going into the NBA playoffs to win the NBA championship. Now, you could look at that 2 ways and say, wow, look at that core, look at that culture that's been put in place with the Milwaukee Bucks, and sometimes you lose a series, sometimes you crap down your leg. Or you could look at it the other way and say, because they were that good, the expectations are that high, and if you don't live up to those high expectations, then get out. I wonder if a franchise that values the continuity the way that the Bucks do want to hit a reset from a head coaching position when their biggest stars ultimately buy into him. Now, you know about that more than I do, Chewy, right? I always am under the impression that if your top guys believe in the coach, that goes a long way. Where even if there's massive disappointments, even if there's questions around scheme and substitutions, if your guys believe in that leader, then it's a lot harder to get rid of them than if the person's brilliant in terms of all the schematics and whatever else, but maybe they don't have the belief.
But you got to look at it in totality. You got to go back to the Raptors series, right? Where they're up 2-0 and then they get swept. Go to the bubble, right? Go to the bubble. Yeah. It was COVID, it was the bubble, but you know what? Everyone had to play in it, right? I mean, this is embarrassing. This is, I woke up at what, Ashy? 5:56?
I think 4:58 was when
4:58.
We got the text that holy bleep.
I went, holy bleep. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then I went, obviously, and watched it, as I do, very condensed version of the game. And I'm like, this was the best team in the regular season? They looked dysfunctional.
They looked scared at moments in the fourth quarter. It looked like the most frustrating part to me is when the Heat got going, really in that fourth quarter especially. The Bucks looked like they didn't know what they wanted to do on offense. They were looking around at each other. Nobody was calling for the ball. There was times that Giannis would get the ball and want to get into the lane, but he did not want to shoot a free throw. And the Heat were more than happy to foul him to the point where the Bucks shot over 40 free throws. Now, they shot 68% from the line, which is unacceptable, and one of the reasons why I have a hard time pinning all of this on Coach Bud, because when Giannis goes 10 for 23 at the charity stripe, and part of that, when you look at the very end of the game when a jump ball was called, and you had Brooke take the jump ball, and he tips it back with 6 seconds left, and the ball goes into Giannis's hands. Giannis hot potatoed that thing out of his hands so fast he almost turned the ball over because he did not want to go to the line. So I don't think he wanted the ball late because he didn't want to have to get fouled and go to the free throw line when he was shooting this pour. Chris didn't look confident. Drew Holiday and Jimmy Butler were barking back and forth at each other throughout the end of that game, and things were getting intense. Jimmy ended up with 42 and averaged 38 points through the series, so we know who got the better hand there. It was just a calamity in so many different respects.
I agree. I mean, the players share a lot of the blame, but when you're up by 16 going into the fourth quarter, that's New England versus Atlanta in Super Bowl whatever. That's choke. That is choke of epic proportion, and that's on Bud, man. I don't care, Then do something to inspire those guys. You got to do more than just X's and O's. I'm blown away. I'm shocked. I'm really shocked.
The timeout management was questionable to the point where at the very end of the game, after Jimmy Butler pushed off in order to get the game tying 2, the Bucks had an extra timeout and a half a second on the clock. And they didn't call the timeout. They could have moved down into the other side of the floor, and they could have drawn up a play, and on half a second is enough to try to get a tip in, and you've got 2 7-footers there. And seemingly, they just did not realize they had a timeout.
Should Grayson Allen been in the game at the very end? Because he clearly didn't want to take that shot. Because why wouldn't you just pull up and take a 12-foot jumper, which you would think any NBA player could make? Instead, he drove to get covered and threw up an I don't know what. I mean, that reminded me of like 6th grade. I have to do a left-handed layup, and I'm jumping off the wrong foot. That's what that looked like.
That was a bad look, and I also think having Connaughton on the floor and guarding Jimmy Butler for that last play of the regulation was a poor choice as well.
I'll say it's indefensible. I don't care if he was matchup searching for Bam because Bam was also on the bench for the Heat. The only thing you have to do there is make sure a shot doesn't get off. Why not have your center on the floor? I will never make sense to me the end of the game situation. And I don't know if that's on Bud. I don't know. Also, the way they were handling the ball down the stretch, it was total pathetic, embarrassing way for that game to finish.
Like we talk about windows all the time in football. You have a 3-year window, and then you got to reload or retool. They're on the backside of their window. Middleton's on the way down. He's on the way down. He's on the backside. I mean, he's still got some years, but he's on the backside. Lopez is going to be a year older. This team won't be the same next year.
The difference is that Giannis is still in the heart of his
yes.
Right?
Giannis is Mahomes.
Yes.
He's Mahomes.
And if you can retool around him in a meaningful way and maybe get a little bit more basketball philosophy built in there, because I don't think they knew what they had in Middleton towards the end of that season. Towards the end of this season. I can't believe it's over already and talking about it in past tense. It will be interesting to see where they go from here, but it does seem like this group, which had such continuity, might not be that group moving forward. 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. Let's go to Jim in Saukville. Jim, welcome into Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Greg Scalzo in for Jen and Gabe. What do you got?
I'll leave it up to you guys to talk about all the bad coaching decisions. And you can retool all you want, but you need a new chief mechanic. I mean, literally, I think I'm being as fair as I possibly can. And everyone I talk to, we cannot reconcile this without getting rid of Coach Bud. It's the first checkbox I have to check in order to get this team back on path. We always turn to the best player on the team. How do you does that player make other players around them better. Well, I look at it the same way as the coach. I turn to the coach first, and that's unfortunately the first change I make. But my God, I mean, really, Chewy makes a good point. You don't often hear a window in terms of the Bucks, but Giannis is no spring chicken. He has a lot of years in the league. He's at his peak, and you have to get rid of Bud. I want to hear from anyone that has that not as the first move here.
I agree. I mean, I said it. I'm like, take Jimmy out of the equation. Do something defensively, because the only way they can win is if he goes off. And it just blows my mind. It makes me think, okay, there's the best defender in the league in the regular season, because he's clearly not the best defender in the postseason. I mean, Jimmy scores 42 again last night, and what did they do to stop him?
It was a tough one. Yeah, I mean, the whole series. Again, he averaged 38 points per game. 38 points per game in the playoff against what is one of the best defenses in the NBA, with two players that are known around the league as top 10 defenders in Giannis and Drew Holiday. They brought in Wes Matthews at certain points to throw him at him, and that was rough. And yet, a lot of attention today is going on to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Ryan and McGuanago text into the show, 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776, said, Giannis better start to win in the postseason or the fans will demand to trade him. Giannis is Rodgers. Greg in Germantown says, I don't care, he's the best player. Giannis shouldn't even be on the court if he's afraid to shoot free throws in the closing seconds. We've got our guy in Jacksonville basically just saying that Giannis needs to work with Rick Barry on underhanded free throws, which I feel like is straight out of the Homer book of how to get better if you're Giannis Antetokounmpo. We'll keep talking about the Bucks. We'll keep talking about the disappointment that happened last night. Where does it rank all time in the Wisconsin sports lexicon of disappointing losses? But we'll be joined next by Jason Wilde the day after Aaron Rodgers is introduced as a New York Jet in the day of round one of the NFL draft. Jason Wilde joins us next. It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on ESPN Milwaukee.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
We have a pretty quiet ride out there right now. Light enough volume that we're not seeing any delays and no real incidents up on the board to speak of. So even through the construction zones, we're looking pretty good. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, mostly sunny, breezy, a high of 59 at the lakefront, 65 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 42. Weather is brought to you by National Liquor Mart at 16th and National in Milwaukee, packed with the best beer, liquor, seltzer, and spirit deals in town. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, where your satisfaction is their plan of action. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Traffic is sponsored by the Harley-Davidson Museum. Celebrate Bike Night on May 4th with a factory shop sale of up to 70% off. Visit hdmuseum.com for a full schedule of events and tickets.
Sunday, May 21st, marks the third annual Goosey's Hunt for the Cure 5K run walk for Huntington's disease, honoring Chris Guzikowski after being diagnosed. The foundation was created by his family with the mission of eradicating the HD gene, with proceeds helping families affected by the incurable disease described as a blend of Parkinson's, ALS, and Alzheimer's. Google GUZI Hunt. That's GUZI Hunt to register or make a monetary donation. See you there.
It's a new era for the green and gold.
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
And we're hitting the ground running on night one of the draft. Join us as we broadcast live from Q Club of Wisconsin on Thursday night starting at 6. Homer Tausch, Jason Wilde, Ben Brust, and the full Jen, Gabe, and Chewy crew will be reacting to the picks and talking about the future in Green Bay. Draft night on 94.5 ESPN, live from Q Club of Wisconsin in Waukesha.
Hey, this is Bo stepping in for Ridgetop Larry. Ridgetop Exteriors is Wisconsin's #1 choice for roofing, siding, windows, and doors. We are the trusted local experts who live and work in the areas we serve, which means we're helping friends and neighbors too. On top of that, Ridgetop Exteriors offers the most affordable payment options, including no interest and low interest financing. For your free estimate, visit ridgetopexteriors.com Roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Visit ridgetopexteriors.com.
Explore Milwaukee's iconic Harley-Davidson Museum this spring. The Harley-Davidson Museum campus boasts one-of-a-kind shopping with exclusive Harley gear from 2 new retail stores, an interactive experience gallery, and the Motor Bar and Restaurant. Riverfront dining with daily specials like fish fries and barbecue. And make it a point to ride over on May 4th for Bike Night, where you can stock up with up to 70% off on deals from their factory shop. The Harley-Davidson Museum, 15 years as one of Milwaukee's top tourist destinations.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match, only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Broken bricks, falling fences, damaged doors, Gorilla Glue. Of course. It's incredibly strong and 100% waterproof and bonds, well, virtually everything. While you're at it, look for Gorilla Tape, a heavy-duty double-thick duct tape, and Gorilla Super Glue, great for all your quick fixes and repairs. There's also Gorilla Epoxy, Gorilla Wood Glue, Gorilla Construction Adhesive, of course. You get it. If you can break it, Gorilla can fix it. For the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
Ready, down, put. All Packers, all the time.
I think Packers fans have every right to be excited about those guys. I just think they need to temper their expectations, especially when you think about that they're going to be playing with a quarterback who is trying to figure it out himself.
Okay, most of the time.
Almonds specifically or all nuts?
Well, these nuts, those nuts, whatever nuts work.
It's Jason Wilde on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Brought to you by Boucher Automotive. With 16 different new car brands and over 35 pre-owned brands to choose from. Boucher Automotive. We are driven by you. And by the Bridgewater Modern Grill. Nestled in the heart of Milwaukee's emerging Harbor District. Enjoy a specialty crafted menu centered around a custom oak-fed grill.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. No Jen, no Gabe. I'm Greg Scalzi, your cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Hanging out here with Ashley and Mark Jumer. We're joined by our friend and teammate. You hear him every day at 9 to noon on Wilde and Tausch. You read him at The Athletic and the Wisconsin State Journal. He is Jason Wilde. Wilde, I know you stayed up late like most of us to watch that game last night. Is that... where do you rank that amongst the worst, most disappointing losses as a series in Wisconsin sports? How do you compare it to some of the recent disappointments we've seen with the Packers over the last 10 years?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't hear you. You need to FaceTime me.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And I think I saw a lot of this on social media afterward. I still, I just wish I'd have gone to bed. I'm sitting here talking to Ashley, who also stayed up, and he had to get up a lot earlier than I did. I got up about 15 minutes ago. But, there's nothing worse when it comes to sports than staying up late to watch something that ends that disappointingly. I understand the comps to the Seattle NFC Championship game loss, but I don't see them in the same category. I mean, the Packers were on the road playing a team that had beaten them by 18 points in the opener in one of the toughest places to win in sports, with a quarterback with a torn calf. And they blew a lead in the last 3 minutes or so, plus that ridiculous fake field goal earlier in the game that woke up everyone in Seattle. But they were the underdogs, at least. They completely blew it. There's no doubt about that. But, this is a 1 versus a 8. And the first time, I'm guessing the Lakers are going to win the next one in advance as well, but with the first time in the play-in tournament era of a play-in team winning a series. So I think this is probably worse. And the one thought that I did have was I would love to talk to the fans who like to say, hey, get me a championship once every 10 years, and I'm fine. I don't care if you suck the other 9 years, because nights like last night, is that 2021 championship keeping you warm and fuzzy last night when you went to bed? It just doesn't work that way to me.
Especially when you have dynasty written all over this roster. You know, that's the tough thing. But, Jason, let's pivot to PhoneGate. Who do you believe? Now, we have to keep in mind that both Goody and Rogers had not always been forthright with you, right? Rogers with the immunized, and I forget what Goody was not completely honest with you about. Who are you believing in this situation?
Yeah, this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And I'll tell you this. I was saying this to Homer and Tony yesterday after this came out in Rogers' press conference in New Jersey. Rogers had told me this like a month ago. After Goody came out at the NFL meetings and said, you know, we tried to get a hold of him. He didn't return any of our calls, et cetera, et cetera. He said, look, I live on the ocean. And I said, good for you. And he said that, look, I don't get any cell service. You got to FaceTime me. Which, first of all, I am not as wealthy as him. But when we first moved to the house we live in, we're in kind of a valley. And we got no cell service in our house. So the team at then GKB Wireless got me what's called a network extender, which connects to your internet so you can have a cell signal that allows you to get phone calls in a house that otherwise wouldn't. And my first thought was, hey, I still have that in the basement now that there's a Verizon tower near my neighborhood. Did you want me to send that to you? Because you could use it, apparently. I think it's a weak argument on both sides. I think both sides have looked bad throughout this. I think they would have been much better served if from the very beginning, and this is part of Rogers' argument, Brian Gutekunst had said to him, look, you're not going to want to be the quarterback of this team. We're clearing the decks of all of our salary cap costs. We're going to be super young. We want to be able to kind of hit the reset button. We're not going to sign anyone in free agency. We're not going to re-sign a bunch of the guys that you want back on this team. So let's just do this the grown-up way and say it's time to go our separate ways. We'll work to find you the right team, and you can stop throwing us under the bus and complaining about everything we do. Let's handle this like grown-ups and move on. And just do it amicably. Because you know this was Goody's plan. Like all this garbage about communicating, the conversation that Goody wanted to have was, we're not going to bring back all the old guys. We need to get our salary cap straight. We're going to suffer through mediocrity at best in 23 to try and have a shot to win the whole frickin' thing in 24. So if you want to stick around for that, great. But if not, we totally get it. We'll move on to Jordan. Let's find you a new team. But they didn't do that. And I think it's just embarrassing on both sides that now we're talking about how you need to FaceTime me to be able to call me. I can't, like, I will be honest. And I think it is, I want to be clear, it's ridiculous, but it is plausible. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but it does make sense. And you know he's got the receipts of screenshots of his call log that show that they didn't call him very often, if at all. Like, you know he does.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't have to be that way. And you can also, from Rogers' perspective, are you telling me that David Dunn never told you look, Goody really wants to talk to you. Could you please give him a call when you're out at your local, Whole Foods or whatever it might be? Can you call him while you're running errands when you have a cell signal? Because he really wants to talk to you.
Jason, beyond that, he said that is sort of, I think, captured a lot of attention coming off of the press conference yesterday. We always dig into the words that Aaron Rodgers uses, how he uses them. And he said a lot yesterday, and he said a lot more about why he decided to go to the New York Jets than why he decided, maybe the Packers isn't right for me. There's a lot to take out of, I think, the press conference and his appearance with Michael Kay on ESPN New York. What did you take away from everything that he said yesterday, or maybe the things that he didn't say?
Yeah, so I haven't had a chance to hear his conversation with Michael Kay yet. I knew he was doing that, and I had texted with Craig Karmazin about it, but I haven't gotten to listen to it. I did see that he did kind of a small group with the beat writers, which he always would do with us too. And in there, he said, in my mind, this is not a one and done, which I thought was the most earth-shattering thing we heard. I thought he said a lot of really good stuff, especially if you're a Jets fan. I thought he said a lot of things you liked hearing, but that was the best thing that he could have said. Like, I understand he didn't full-on commit to multiple years, but I've brought this up many times throughout the last several off seasons. This is a guy who said he wanted to play into his 40s, and I don't think turning 40 on December 2nd and finishing out the 23 season really and truly constitutes playing into his 40s. I've always thought that the retirement card was a club that he wanted to keep in his bag in case he didn't like the direction of the Packers, to get his way to somewhere else if he needed to use it. And I think him making those comments to the Jets beat writers yesterday solidifies my belief that I don't care about 90% retiring, going into the darkness and all this other stuff. This guy, much like Favre, is not just going to retire because he thinks he's done. He's going to have to be pushed into retirement by injury or ineffectiveness. So I thought that was the most interesting thing I heard.
Jason, what's your gut telling you tonight with the 13th pick? Not player, but what position you think they're going to address with that first pick?
Well, I know what I'm rooting for. Look, they've got so many needs, Chew, that they could go pretty much anywhere. Like, even offensive tackle. Like, I know Bakhtiari's back, but his cap number next year is like $40 million. Yeah. I mean, he's not playing for them next year, I don't think. And so they could take one of the tackles at 13. But what I'm rooting for is Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, the storyline of they haven't drafted a wide receiver in the first round since 2002. For that to happen literally the day after Aaron Rodgers officially joins the Jets, I don't know if I can love a storyline more.
That would be great.
I would love to hear the comments that we get from Aaron Rodgers following that. Jason, awesome stuff. We appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be hearing you all day. Of course, Wilde and Tausch every day, 9 to noon. And throughout the day, you'll get Jason Wilde Packers coverage. A little Bucks, I'm sure, is going to be thrown in as well. And, of course, the NFL draft tonight. So thank you, Jason. Appreciate the time.
All right, guys. Take care. Be good.
Jason Wilde of Wilde and Tausch. We'll come back. We'll hear what Giannis had to say in the postgame. An interesting answer that a lot of people are celebrating. We'll hear what Chewy thinks about it next. It is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on ESPN Milwaukee.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
Things moving along pretty well, getting a little heavier on eastbound 94, slowing down from about 84th Street to about Hawley Road, and then back again coming out of the stadium interchange. Northbound on 41, a little slow right past Watertown Plank Road, and southbound 43's got a couple of pockets of heavy traffic between Good Hope Road and Capitol Drive. Traffic is brought to you by Fisco Auto Body. Call Fisco Auto Body to help with all body repair needs. Fisco, Fisco, Fisco. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Today, mostly sunny, breezy, a high of 59 at the lakefront, 65 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 42. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
We believe the best things take time. You have your obsessions. Ours is crafting the best slow-smoked barbecue in the state. Crafted only from humanely raised meats, dry rub, slowly smoked, and sauced by you. Add Smoke Shack to the top of your list the next time your hunger is trying to throw you off your game. Dine in, order takeout, or consider Smoke Shack to do the cooking for your next backyard barbecue celebration. Check us out in the historic 3rd Ward on Milwaukee Street or at smokeshack.com.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Cheers to selection and savings. They are worth celebrating. I mean, have you tried to buy a car, a house, or even lumber lately? Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor, where, since 1960, we've consistently provided the best selection and the lowest prices in southeastern Wisconsin. We stock literally thousands of varieties of beer, liquor, and wine. Over 14,000 actually, but who's counting? The point is, you want it, odds are we have it. And what about our prices? Oh, they're low, really low. Our long-standing relationships and enormous buying power allow us to pass savings directly to you. The result? Low prices every single day. I'll drink to that. Discount Liquor, locally owned and family operated with 2 locations. In Milwaukee on 51st in Oklahoma and in downtown Waukesha on Barstow and Maine.
Discount Liquor.
There's only one place in Milwaukee where every day of the year, dreams and reality get together for a great time. Where you can walk in a player and walk out a winner. That place, Potawatomi Casino Hotel. With fantastic dining, gaming, sports betting, a luxurious hotel, and endless ways to win, the excitement never stops. The only thing missing is you. Your win is waiting, only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Visit our website to learn more. Must be 21 to enter casino.
Hi, it's John Reeds from Great Midwest Bank, and I've said it before. Life happens. For nearly 90 years, Great Midwest Bank has made the home loan process predictable through all those ups and downs. And today, GMB's simple and personalized approach to locally serviced, affordable home equity loans can turn your home's value into cash for whatever you want. Whatever your lending need, it's just a few clicks away. Apply online at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Racine Danish Kringles. Mother's Day is Sunday, May 14th, and you can ship Mom something just as sweet as she is. A Kringle from Racine Danish Kringles. Get her favorite Kringle in a specially designed Mother's Day gift box. Just go to Kringle.com or call 1-800-4DANISH to order. Have it conveniently shipped right to Mom and consider surprising your sister, aunt, or grandmother too with a Kringle. Again, Kringle.com or 1-800-4DANISH. Racine Danish Kringles. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition.
You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
I mean, this world is geared towards women. Like, what do we
I
get?
am stepping away from this. Goodbye.
Like, what do we get? They get a comb that dries your hair. We get a stupid razor. I mean, what's the coolest thing we get? They get the hair dryer?
Control.
On 94.5 ESPN.
The Bucks lose in overtime last night in Game 5 at Fiserv Forum. They become the 6th team as a number 1 seed to lose in the first round to an 8 seed. Jimmy Butler poured in 42 points. He averaged 38 points per game throughout the series. The Bucks once again, fourth quarter collapse, lose the fourth quarter by 16 to bring it into overtime. And there's so many calamities that you could point to in terms of what could have gone differently. And yet here we are lamenting the disappointment of a season that had very, very high hopes. The betting favorite going into the playoffs. And Giannis himself called it the worst postseason ever, saying that usually, that number to win it all is 16. He said, I don't think we've ever had a number where we ended up at 15 and we were stuck at 15. And when you think about this team, how accomplished they are, how prepared they are in terms of roster, in terms of championship experience, to only come away this postseason with 1 win is about as disappointing as it gets. And yet, in the post-game presser, Eric Name, friend of show, friend of station of The Athletic, asked a pretty pointed question whether or not Giannis would call the season a failure. Here's what it sounded like.
Do you view this season as a failure?
You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay. Do you get the promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, I don't know, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success, And if you've never, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it, Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure. That's what you're telling me. I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? Okay, exactly. So why are you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports. There's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful. Some days you're not.
The dumbest
some days
thing
it's
I've
your
ever heard
turn.
in my
Some
life.
days it's not your turn. And that's what sports is about. You don't always win. Some other people's gonna win. And this year somebody else is gonna win. Simple as that. We're gonna come back next year, try to be better, try to build good habits, try to play better, not have a 10-day stretch with playing bad basketball, and hopefully we can win a championship. So 50 years from 1971 to 2021 that we didn't win a championship, it was 50 years of failures. No, it was not. It was steps to it, and we were able to win one. Hopefully we can win another one.
That was the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard in my life.
Why?
No
He's getting
failure
a
in
lot of love
sports.
right now.
When you are the clear-cut best team in the league and you lose to a play-in team who is the 8th seed, that is a failure, okay? When we lost to Denver in the Super Bowl, being favored by 12 points, that is a failure. Now, it's still the Super Bowl, so it's not as big as a failure as other failures, but it's a failure. This is embarrassing. This is an embarrassing failure. I mean, what is he talking about? Yeah. There's things that go into. He brought up Michael Jordan, right?
Yep.
Sometimes athletes get bored. They get bored, even though when they're the best. That's why Jordan didn't win some of those years. They're just not as hungry. That's a natural human element. But when you're talking a dynasty, and we all thought when they won it in 21, we're like, here we go. I'm looking at 2 in the next 4 would be wonderful. This is a failure of epic proportion.
So do you think that perspective that Giannis is trying to provide is a healthy one or a detrimental one? Because you could argue it either way. You could say, hey, look, like to take bigger context in terms of not being as black and white about failure versus success. And this is a part of a team that continues to build, and he knows he's with this Bucks and this franchise could potentially get better from this. That could be looked at as healthy, but it could also be looked at as, look, one of the great things about sports is there's a scoreboard, and it's very obvious in terms of success and failure. And a win is success, and a loss is failure. And if you fail enough, then you lose. And I wonder if Jordan, and I would love to, I hope that somebody can ask him this today, would say, hey, those other 9 years where you didn't win a championship, did you look at those as failures? Because I'm curious what he would say, and knowing how that dude is made up, I have a feeling he would say, yeah, of course they were failures. We didn't accomplish the goal.
I think you have to chalk a lot of it up and give him a pass because you're very emotional after a loss like that. I go back to when we lost to Denver. I didn't want to talk. I didn't really want to talk. I remember sitting there to this day, sitting there crying with Free because it's like, what just happened? We are 12-point favorites, which might have been one of the biggest lines in Super Bowl history, and we lost. Like you can't process it right away, so you kind of have to give them a pass there. But sports is all about windows, right? And rebuilding and retools. I clearly thought in these past 2 years, after they won in 21, they would have another one under their belt, and then they would get one more, even though they'd be a little bit on the backslide. I think this team is on the backslide. I mean, Giannis is Mahomes, but I think Middleton is on the back end of being a superstar. Lopez is old. Drew Holiday, I don't know what to think. For the best defensive team in the regular season, they sure as hell gave up a lot of points to a team that wasn't very good in the regular season.
And Jimmy Butler was the man that made it all happen. Averaged 38 points per game throughout the series. Had 42 last night. Had 56 in Game 4. Giannis was asked about what they could have done to stop him. He said, I don't know, double team him more. Try to make him pass the ball. Maybe switch the matchup for a little bit to give Drew a break. I don't think as a team we made the right adjustment, or we didn't make as many adjustments as we could have against him. And Jimmy Butler, once again, averaging 38 points per game in this series, was double-teamed a total of 7 plays in the entire series, according to ESPN. And in Game 5 last night, did not face a single double team, according to ESPN's tracking data.
I always go back to football and how defensive coordinators try to stop powerful offenses, right?
That's the Belichick. You shut down the other team's best weapon.
So take Minnesota, for example. They got Jefferson, Thielen, and Dalvin Cook. Defensive coordinators go into the game saying, we're not letting Jefferson beat us. He's our number 1. Number 2 is Cook. If Thielen goes off 7 catches for 210 yards and 4 touchdowns, so be it. Then they deserve to win. All they had was Butler. That's all they had. I don't think they have another player on that team is capable of scoring 50-something points.
The only other guy they have capable of scoring
broke his hand?
Didn't play, and that was Tyler Hero. Dumpy and West Bend joined us on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Dumpy, you've got an opinion on Tyler Hero. What do you got?
I do. Boy, that Potawatomi sports betting must have made a fortune this week. But I was going to say, I think if Tyler Hero's healthy, I think the Bucks win this series because the Heat end up taking a lot more low percentage shots, and this is a team that wasn't very good at the three ball all year. And one more thing I'd like to say is that if Chris Farley had the ball at the top of the key with nobody on him, at the end of that overtime, he would have at least gotten a shot off in time. I don't know what Grayson Allen is doing, and I think he's bad juju. He needs to go.
Thank you for the call, Dumpy and West Bend. It should be noted, Chris Farley, notoriously great mid-range game, so I tend to agree. I think he'd get a nice shot off there at the end of the game. Greg Scalzo in for Gabe Neitzel and Jen Latta as we're breaking down what the hell happened with the Bucks last night. Their series is done. Their season is done. We'll see what that team looks like next year, but where does it rank in terms of the worst loss in recent Wisconsin sports history? Plus, Giannis wouldn't call this season a failure. Chewy absolutely would. Do you think that this season is a failure for the Milwaukee Bucks? 800-990-ESPN. Again, 800-990-3776. We'll take some of your calls. We'll open up the phone lines. We'll continue to talk Bucks, plus touch on the Aaron Rodgers presser from yesterday. And hey, the NFL draft starts tonight. A lot going on. Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on ESPN Milwaukee.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Looking for the best way to welcome new teammates or business partners to your team? Look no further. 3 Tree Marketing is a full-service branded merchandise agency using creative merchandising to share your company's story. Be the envy of others with specialized gifting and onboarding kits from 3 Tree, an amazing opportunity to best showcase what a brand is all about. Work with a team that thinks outside the box and becomes an extension of your team. See what else 3 Tree Marketing can do for your team and set an appointment today. 3treemarketing.com.
This is ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta for St. Kate the Arts Hotel. Are you looking for the perfect restaurant for your next night out? Make Aria, the acclaimed restaurant inside St. Kate, your next dinner destination. Specializing in artisanal American cuisine, Aria features carefully prepared seasonal entrees along with a robust selection of craft cocktails, wine, and local beer. New to Aria's menu is a family-style chicken dinner available every Sunday featuring the restaurant's famous Bro-Stish chicken served with sides like mashed potatoes, goat cheese biscuits, and more. Learn more and make reservations at Aria at stkatearts.com.
Hey, this is Bo stepping in for Ridgetop Larry. Ridgetop Exteriors is Wisconsin's #1 choice for roofing, siding, windows, and doors. We are the trusted local experts who live and work in the areas we serve, which means we're helping friends and neighbors too. On top of that, Ridgetop Exteriors offers the most affordable payment options, including no interest and low interest financing. For your free estimate, visit ridgetopexteriors.com. Roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Visit ridgetopexteriors.com.
Palermo's is Wisconsin's hometown pizza. They've been making great tasting frozen pizza, including Palermo's, Connie's, Urban Pie, Screamin' Sicilian. They've been doing it locally for over 55 years. We just celebrated National Pizza Week, National Pizza Day, all those great things when it comes to Palermo's. And look, there comes a weekend day, or maybe you get to Friday and just, man, I've been making meals all week, but I still want something that tastes good. Well, Palermo's, you have them stocked away in the freezer, you throw them in the oven, and you get something delicious. And the great thing about Palermo's, with all the different brands they have something for everyone's taste. Whether it's Palermo's, Connie's, Urban Pie, Screamin' Sicilian, Neighborhood Pizzeria, Surfer Boy Pizza, they have something for everyone's taste. So make sure you keep an eye out for Palermo's in the freezer section of your local grocery store, because Palermo's is Wisconsin's hometown pizza.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text HUNK to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text HUNK to 321321. That's HUNK to 321321.
Your first time biking to work. Your new helmet? Secure. Your bike? Road ready. You got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with Access Checking. It's maintenance fee-free with no minimum balance requirements. So even if down the road that bike needs a little maintenance, at least your checking account won't. You've got this with Access Checking from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
My father would always say, and there's a rhyme and a reason to it, he said, if you wear your rubbers in the house, you'll go blind. Do the 2 youngsters on the show here even know what rubbers are? I'm talking the ones that go over the shoes.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Vincent trying to get it around Giannis, doing jumping jacks in front of him. Holds the ball outstretched. Lobs it up for Butler. Butler catches it and hits it at the horn. Up close. The Bucks were not expecting it. 0.5 seconds left.
Some of the sounds from the disappointing loss last night at Fiserv Forum. The Bucks fall to the Heat in 5 games. The 6th #1 seed in NBA history to fall to an 8 seed. Jimmy Butler went off once again, 42 points, including the game-tying basket with a half a second left on the clock. Yes, he pushed off. Yes, it should have been a foul, but he got away with it. And that's part of Jimmy Butler's game, is that he is a savvy player. A lot of mistakes you could point to all across the board, from the Bucks free throws to some of the substitutions that were a little bit questionable or lack thereof, from timeout management to the fact that they seemed like they did not know what they wanted to be or do offensively. And I want to know, like, where does this rank for you in terms of worst losses in Wisconsin sports history? And what did you make of Giannis's comments? Do you view this season as a failure? Because he does not. Chewy thinks that's hogwash. What do you think? 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. Let's start with Derek in Lake Geneva. Derek, welcome to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy here on ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Greg Scalzman for Jen and Gabe. What do you got?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. I completely agree with Chewy. I pin this blame solely on the GM of the Bucks on trying to do something that no other team in the NBA is trying to do. They're trying to win games in the playoffs using, in boxing terms, aged prize fighters. When in the playoffs, you need street dogs. You need Mike Tysons. You don't need aged Sugar Ray Leonards. And if you look at the bench, when these guys get off the bus, when I judge teams, I look at them and say, okay, how athletic are they? How driven are they? How muscular are they? And if you look at the Bucks team, would you want to put this team up against a street fight versus anybody else? And that is their downfall. They're trying to do something that nobody else in the NBA is trying to do. They're trying to win with old, aged white guys, and that plan doesn't work, period.
They are. They're not, after you watch them, they're really not that athletic.
I guess, but I do think that this is the core they won with 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, I know.
You're saying, and I forget the name of the color there, but you're saying that nobody's done this in the NBA. Nobody does in the NBA. The Bucks just did it 2 years ago. And I get that this team is now 2 years older.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the age factor to it. But you look across the court, that roster stinks. You had Jimmy Butler surrounded by Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Kyle Lowry and Kevin Love both fouled out. You want to talk about old and decrepit?
Yes, I agree.
Look at Kevin Love, Victor Oladipo, who couldn't even make it through the series before getting hurt, and Kyle Lowry. But they had a dog in Jimmy, and Jimmy played his heart out. And Giannis, I don't think we can. I'm not making any excuse. What they did is inexcusable from a player standpoint, from a coaching standpoint. Ultimately, though, you had a banged up Giannis who missed 3 of the 5 games they played. So, like, I understand it. You could point to the roster. I just don't buy that the team everyone said is the deepest team in the league heading into the playoffs. They shouldn't have lost in the first round.
Are we kind of fooled by the regular season?
Maybe, but my point is, it's like it's giving them too much of a pass to say, oh, the roster wasn't good enough. There's no pass. They should have won this series, with or without Giannis. They were the better team.
Right.
I'm not saying championship, right? If they lose in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think the merits of those arguments are a lot stronger than, hey, the roster just wasn't good enough to beat a Heat team that the roster's crap.
But with that being said, because we all love the blame after a series like this, who are you placing the blame on? Because ultimately, to me, this is like an NFL coach losing to a horrible team and saying, I did not have this team ready to play. We hear it all the time.
Yeah?
We hear it all the time.
I mean, LaFleur says it after every loss. He says it.
I didn't get these guys ready to play. So what you're saying is most of the blame should be placed on Bud because these guys were clearly not ready to play. Or he's not doing a good job melding these guys together. And
I'm not going to make excuses for Bud. I don't think it was his best series. I don't think it was his best game. But Bud also didn't miss 17 free throws. 17 free throws. They were 28 of 45 from the charity stripe. Giannis, 10 of 23. Drew Holiday missed a free throw that could have basically clinched the game. So, like, there is a certain element of...
But I've been pulled into Holmgren's office at times, out of the blue, and said, what's going on? What's the matter? You're not playing like the guy I want you to play. That's the responsibility of the coach. This isn't a one-game thing. This happened the whole flipping series. What's going on? Is there something wrong? Was something wrong at home? Is there something wrong with your girlfriend? What's going on? I'm putting most of the blame on him. Sorry.
800-990-ESPN.
I just want his house on Oconee Lake, all right? That's all I want.
800-990-3776. If you're on the line, stay right there. If you're not, who do you blame the most, and where does this rank as worst loss in Wisconsin history? Is it a failure? Giannis doesn't think so. We want to hear from you. 800-990-ESPN. It is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on ESPN Milwaukee.
Full show podcasts, interviews, and special content is available right now at WisconsinOnDemand.com. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on 94.5 ESPN.
We do have some slowdowns right now. Eastbound on 94 slowing down from Highway 100 all the way through the zoo and through the stadium. The westbound side is going to be tight out of the Marquette through the stadium interchange as well. Southbound 43 hitting the brakes from Brown Deer Road all the way down past Hampton Avenue, with the northbound side also slowing down from right around the North Avenue curve up to about Capitol Drive. Also seeing some backups on 4394 northbound right around the Plainfield curve up past Oklahoma Avenue. Traffic is brought to you by Waukesha Gun Club, one of Wisconsin's largest shotgun-only clubs. Trap and sporting clay leagues are forming now. Stop in or register at WaukeshaGunClub.org. And check out the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Mostly sunny, breezy, a high of 59 at the lake, 65 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 42. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code ESPN17 for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code ESPN17. Use code ESPN17 for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
It's a new era for the green and gold.
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
And we're hitting the ground running on night one of the draft. Join us as we broadcast live from Q Club of Wisconsin on Thursday night starting at 6. Homer Tausch, Jason Wilde, Ben Brust, and the full Jen, Gabe, and Chewy crew will be reacting to the picks and talking about the future in Green Bay. Draft night on 94.5 ESPN live from Q Club of Wisconsin in Waukesha.
Hey, this is Homer. You're listening to the home of Marquette basketball. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. Showtime. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Do you believe the Bucks can win 3 in a row? Do you think they will win 3 in a row?
Duh.
Yeah, I knew Gabe was going to say that. I'm uncomfortable. I think they can win tonight.
That's where the learning happens, Jen. On the edge of uncomfortable.
The Heat with a chance to play come from behind ball. Butler hits the three, and we are even. It is deja vu all over again, ladies and gentlemen.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Saying Heat and 6 or
I'm not
going to
say they lose. I'm with Jen. I don't feel good.
Holds the ball outstretched. Lobs it up for Butler. Butler catches it and hits it at the horn. Up close. The Bucks were not expecting it.
Where is this confidence coming from? Down
they were
3-1.
Best team. This is what he was. They were the best team during the regular season.
Well, but it's not even just that. It's the core that they had last year that was so good. And
I will say this, though, guys.
They've been so good.
Passes out to Butler. 2:52 to go in overtime. Jimmy Butler defended by Holiday. Pulls up. Got it. 17-footer. Chris feeds out to Allen. Allen's got to get a shot off. He doesn't get it off. The game is over, and so is the season for the number 1 seed in these NBA playoffs.
And we just got to feel it now. We got to use this as motivation. Hopefully we can come back next year and be better.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamorro. Here's Jen Latta.
The Bucks fall 128 to 126 as we have the TVs here in the studio showing the last possession where Grayson Allen is dribbling down the lane as time expires, and Jimmy Butler and the Heat celebrate on the Bucks home court after beating the number 1 seed in 5 games, the 6th time a number 1 seed in the NBA's loss to an 8 seed. This time it's an 8 seed in the Miami Heat that was missing one of their best offensive players in Tyler Hero. Bucks horrible from the free throw line. Some questionable coaching decisions or lack thereof, timeout management. And I'm not going to run through all the texts because we've got a whole lot here, 800-990 ESPN. Keep them coming. But I would say the largest theme there is people are disappointed in Coach Buck.
Let me ask you this. Ash, you jump in here too. You guys both answer this. I disagree with Giannis. This is a huge failure. But when would it have not been a failure? If they lost to the Knicks in 5, if they lost to whoever wins the series, the Celtics. Or Philly in 5, would it have been a failure? Let's say if they lost to Philly in 5.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Yeah. But I also think that people look at that as a negative. I think when you are a team who's earned the expectations the Bucks have, anything short of a championship is a failure. Because you are not playing to be champions. You're playing to be a dynasty. And in the NBA, you have to win multiple rings with your team in order to ascend to that level, to what the Bulls were in the 90s, to what the Spurs were in the early 2000s, to what Kobe's Lakers did. If you're a one-title team, you're akin to the '07 Celtics, to the Big Three, to the Dirk Nowitzki Mavs, to the Kawhi Leonard Raptors. Like, those are great teams, but they're not on that level of you did this over a series of years. And the Bucks' regular season success would lend you to believe that they are of that caliber, but the postseason success hasn't matched that outside of obviously the singular championship.
So the Bucks bar is now or has been the same as the Packers with most of Favre's career and most of Rodgers' career, where it's Super Bowl or bust. We don't care about the divisional round in the playoffs. So the bar now is championship.
100%. Yeah. Like, think about it, though. Like, so in 2019, they should have gone to the finals, and they pooped their pants against the Raptors. Raptors going to win the series. 2020, bubble year, whatever. That was a failure of a season to me, too, anyways. Bubble year, whatever. 21, they win the title. Great. Last year, Chris gets hurt. I think they probably win the title if Chris isn't hurt. So you can say failure, you can say not a failure. This year, expectations sky high. Number one, they won 16 in a row at some point this year. Giannis, to me, at points of the season, had never been better than he had been in his career. Chris was finally getting healthy. And they failed. It is a pure failure to me. And the expectation that's being set, I'm with Scales on this. Like, that's great. I want the expectation to be that high.
Yeah, of course you do.
I wish the White Sox expectation was that high. Instead, I just expect to cry every year. It's fine.
Well, I don't think they're going to tease you too much this year. Actually, they're making you cry early on. We'll leave the White Sox to a different conversation. But I do think that the disappointment is heightened when you don't lose to a team that you look at and say, like, if they went to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to the Celtics in 7 games and it was a hard-fought matchup, it's a lot easier to swallow and say, man, I'm disappointed, but you win up. You got to a place where you're part of the Final Four in the NBA and you're facing a team, the two best teams in the NBA this year were the Celtics and the Bucks. You lose that game, you lose that series, it feels a lot different than losing to Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, and in the collection of toys that they put around Jimmy Butler. 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. John and West Bend, welcome to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. What do you got?
Guys, thanks for taking my call. I was not expecting Scalzo in the morning, so this is a nice little treat. It's totally upsetting, but there's nothing wrong with the roster, and they're not old, and the team isn't terrible. I really think they don't have an answer for Jimmy Butler, and when we look at the last number of years, the bubble year, Jimmy Butler, has there been one player that has been more detrimental to Milwaukee Bucks championships than him? I mean, I don't want to say fire Bud, but I'm right with you, Scalzo, in the questionable, 13-0 run, 13-2 run with no timeout to just stop that momentum. It's upsetting. Whatever we could do, maybe package Connaughton with Allen and try to get Jimmy buckets on the Bucks and make it easier.
That's equal. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a complete letdown.
Thank you, John and West Bend. And yeah, I mean, look, Kawhi Leonard averaged 30 per game in that 19 series when he was on the Raptors. The Tatum last year averaged 28 points per game against the Bucks. Jimmy certainly's had their number, but I do think that the Bucks in these series need to find a better way to take out what you said earlier, Chewy, the best player on the other team. Let the other players beat you.
But the difference from this year to past with Jimmy Butler is he had a supporting cast. He didn't have a supporting cast. Who was his supporting cast? Bam. I mean, that's a nice piece, but go beyond that?
There's not much there. I mean, there is not much around him. I mean, at one point, Jimmy Butler down the stretch is on the court with Haywood Highsmith, Caleb Martin, Max Strus, and Gabe Vincent. Those 4 guys would not make the Bucks roster. Like, they literally would not make the team for the Milwaukee Bucks. And I know people are saying, Pete McGuanago, how dare you besmirch Max Strus? I mean, if they were on the Bucks roster, they wouldn't be in the rotation. So you're right, Chewy. This is all about Jimmy Butler.
Was this an overconfident thing?
It actually seems the opposite way for me. It seemed like they were underconfident.
Overconfidence of the fans or the players?
I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my arms around this, and I just can't. I can't. Because I was talking to Scals during the break. I'm like, football's different. because you lose to a Colts team in 97 that's 1-12, and the game ends, and you're like, what the hell just happened? And you don't have the opportunity to play them the next night, because I can tell you this, based upon that week of work after we lost to the Colts, we're beating the Colts 82-4.
Yeah.
We're beating them 82-4. So there was a sample size here like, all right, we played like crap. We got blown out. And then you lose again. And then you lose again. And then I can't wrap my arms around it. It's just, from a psychological standpoint, I don't know what the hell just happened.
800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. Let's go to Double D in Milwaukee. Double D, welcome into Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. What do you got?
Well, I got that Bud do not know how to make in-game adjustments. As you can see, it happened in Toronto. It happened in the bubble. It happened last year with Boston. If you ask me, he can't develop players. I just think you need to bring Sam Cassell in. I said it when he first got hired.
All right. Thank you, Double D in Milwaukee. He wants Bud out. He wants Sam Cassell in. Let's quickly go to Alan in Milwaukee. Alan, welcome to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. What do you got?
Hey, I'm going to echo the same thing the last guy said, because this is just like what happened in Atlanta with Bud. He had a rise, and the team talent, got him a rise in total, wins and things of that nature. But then there was a steady decline as if he got, as teams figured out that he does not adjust. He doesn't adjust. And the same thing happened. And I said this last year when they lost to Boston. They had these scoring droughts. And I don't know why these NBA coaches shorten their bench, when they get to the playoffs. Last year, they could have used a guy to come off the bench and just give them 4 points in their droughts. Last night, the last two games, fourth quarter, they made, 3 baskets? They couldn't find somebody at the end of the bench to come in and make 2 jump shots. Like, this kind of stuff that just 2 jump shots. Anybody, 12th man, 10th man, 8th man, but he doesn't go to it.
Thank you, Alan in Milwaukee. Coach Bud getting a lot of heat. Damian in Milwaukee. Welcome to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. What do you got?
Thanks for taking the call. I agree. This coach has done it in Atlanta. Had a great regular season, got to the playoffs with a great team, got swept in the first round. I think the coach was on the hot seat the year they won the championship. The Bucks won the championship.
Yeah, he would have been out.
The fact that they won.
Yeah,
he got past another couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how it can't be on a coach when they do not double team Jimmy Butler in this game. He just hit y'all for 50-something points, and you don't double team him? The rest of the team, so you're scared of the rest of the team. The rest of the team could beat you. I don't get it. I think it's time for Coach to go.
Thank you, Damon in Milwaukee. Jimmy Butler scored a combined 98 points in Game 4 and 5 for the Miami Heat.
Yeah,
800.
I mean, you look back, Kevin Durant has a smaller shoe size. He's probably gone then. And that's not as embarrassing a loss. Am I right?
It's not, but that's also without giving Bud credit for, in that next series, winning the Eastern Conference Finals without Giannis and then beating a very talented Suns team. Like, he did end up winning the championship. I understand the criticism of him today. I'm not making excuses for it, but we are 2 years removed from throwing a parade in Milwaukee for the first time in 50 years because there was a championship.
You know what, those Scals? How long did Doug Peterson get?
Not long.
Doug Peterson wins a Super Bowl, and I think it's got 2 years, and he's smell you later.
Yeah.
Catch you on the flip.
That's Philadelphia, though.
That is Philadelphia.
That is Philadelphia,
That
though.
is very true.
800-990-3776. I do want to get to some of the Rodgers stuff from yesterday. NFL draft tonight. There's so much going on in the NFL world as it pertains to Aaron Rodgers, as it pertains to the Packers, the direction they're going to go. But I also understand that we've got a hangover from an overtime game last night that kept most of us up until the wee hours of the night and ended in bitter and utter disappointment. I believe we have the top 8 at 8 next. We'll do that in Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. We'll keep talking Bucks. We'll work in some Packers and NFL draft talk. It is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Greg Scalzo in for Jen and Gabe.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
We do have some slowdowns right now. Eastbound on 94 slowing down from Highway 100 all the way through the zoo and through the stadium. The westbound side is going to be tight out of the Marquette through the stadium interchange as well. Southbound 43 hitting the brakes from Brown Deer Road all the way down past Hampton Avenue, with the northbound side also slowing down from right around the North Avenue curve up to about Capitol Drive. Also seeing some backups on 4394 northbound right around the Plainfield curve up past Oklahoma Avenue. Traffic is brought to you by Waukesha Gun Club, one of Wisconsin's largest shotgun-only clubs. Trap and sporting clay leagues are forming now. Stop in or register at waukeshagunclub.org. And check out the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Mostly sunny, breezy, a high of 59 at the lake, 65 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 42. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Homer, Tony, living in perfect harmony. Yeah, right.
Jordan Love's been the quarterback on this show for 2 months or 40 days.
Yeah. Suddenly, next year is real with Jordan Love.
Yeah, they're going to win 6 or 7 games. Yeah.
Oh,
no, the key is
no. 6 or 7?
That's what they did.
I don't
want
to sit through 6 or 7.
Rodgers happened to him his first year.
Listen to Homer and Tony weekdays from 2 to 4 on 94.5 ESPN and wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Ridge Top Exteriors provides the best quality roofs, siding, windows, doors, expertly installed at an affordable price. Really, that's all you should need to know about Ridge Top Exteriors, because if you're doing an exterior project to your home, what else do you need to know other than that Ridge Top Exteriors has the best quality roofs, siding, windows, doors, expertly installed at an affordable price? That's everything you're looking for. But there's still one more, the cherry on top, because Ridgetop Exteriors considers customer service their number one goal. They strive to exceed the expectations of the homeowners they serve. It is hard to find great customer service anywhere, and finding great customer service when it comes to a big project, to an exterior of your home, like roofs, windows, siding, doors, and now Ridgetop Exteriors does that all just for you? Yeah, that's right. So Ridgetop Exteriors provides the best quality roofs, siding, windows, doors, expertly installed at an affordable price, plus customer service is their number one goal. Get a free estimate for your next project. All you have to do is log on to their website, ridgetopexteriors.com.
Looking for your next night out? Q Club of Wisconsin is the hangout spot for watching sports, playing games, and having some drinks. Mike, what you got going on over there, buddy?
Hey, Gary, there's so much going on here. We've got all your favorite teams on our TVs, more pool tables than you know what to do with, and live local bands playing on Saturdays. Plus, we got bocce leagues all summer long that we're signing teams up for right now. And, of course, our fish fry piled high on Wednesdays and Fridays.
And stop by for brunch on Saturdays and Sundays at 9 a.m. Check out QClubofWisconsin.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-484-5131 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-484-5131. That's 800-484-5131. What do you have to lose? Call 800-484-5131. Again, 800-484-5131.
Since 1964, Ewald Automotive has been on a journey to make car buying easier for your family. So if you want an easy experience, head to Ewald's 59th anniversary sale. Ewald guarantees the lowest price and includes their exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on new vehicles. Plus, with live market pricing, you'll never overpay for a used car. Shop over 1,000 vehicles. Ewald's anniversary sale is going on now through month end.
Go to ewaldauto.com.
The top 8 at 8.
Name something that follows the word pork.
You pie.
Huh?
One category.
Name something people take with them to the beach. Turkey.
The top 8 answers.
The first thing you buy in a supermarket. Turkey.
The top 8 at 8.
A food often stuffed. Turkey.
The top 8 at 8 on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Name Popeye's favorite food.
Chicken! Oh my God!
Show me my chicken!
Sponsored by Milwaukee Pretzel Company. Win a Bavarian soft pretzel lovers gift pack from the Milwaukee Pretzel Company. Shop now at MilwaukeePretzel.com.
NFL draft tonight. Rodgers introduced with the Jets logo on his chest yesterday in New York. And the Milwaukee Bucks end their season at Fiserv Forum in overtime. Just about the most disappointing fashion you can have. But it's time for the top 8 at 8 here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. I'm Greg Scalzo in for Jen and Gabe. Ashley, what do we got today?
Today we are doing, in honor of the draft tonight, we're doing the last 8 number 1 overall picks, trying to make it a little bit easy on everybody to kind of not be so sad and hopefully not get as many wrong as Jen, Gabe, and Chewy normally would get during this segment.
That was not very nice.
It is, however, factual, and you cannot argue that. And I apologize for making you sad, but it's true. You guys will now guess back and forth on the last 8 number 1 overall picks for the NFL draft, and the minute you each get one wrong, then we will open up to the phone lines, 800-990-3776, and the winner, which means the person who guesses the last one correctly, the one to fill out the final 8, gets a Milwaukee Pretzel Company prize pack, which is fantastic because we love Milwaukee Pretzel Company.
You want to do this in order or just jump around?
We do it in order.
You jump around. He didn't know what you meant.
What?
You guys do not ever guess in order number 1
I'm
through
asking
8.
if you
No.
Yeah, we can do this in order. No.
Do you think you can?
You don't think so?
Oh, wait. I do love a challenge here because I did not know number 1 last year.
It was Tavon Walker out of Georgia.
He's right. I didn't know that one.
I didn't know that one either.
Yes, went to the Jacksonville Jaguars there.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, 2020. Correct. He is the first overall pick, 2020.
We're missing 2021. Who would have been the quarterback there that got drafted first overall? Sure, it was a quarterback.
We do not give hints. We're not allowed to.
It's not him.
Oh, I'm not supposed to give a hint to Chewy?
No hints.
No, you're up.
Oh, I'm up.
Yeah, you're up.
I mean, if we just need one, we'll go Kyler Murray.
2019, Kyler Murray.
Let's go with... this was a pretty good quarterback class. Let's go with Jacksonville Jaguars.
Great. What about them? Who did they take?
Trevor Lawrence.
There it is. That was the 2021.
2021 Trevor Lawrence. All right, so I'll re-rack it real quick. You have 22, Travon Walker. 21, Trevor Lawrence. 2020, Joe Burrow. And 2019, Kyler Murray. You are missing 2018 through 2015.
2018 was Baker Mayfield.
That is correct.
Was he really? All right, I'm done with quarterbacks. There's got to be a Bosa in there somewhere.
Well, why don't you guess one and we'll find out. You got 2 to choose from. Or 3. I don't remember.
San Francisco. I played with his dad at Boston College, who was also a first-round pick of Miami Dolphins. Good guy. And his... Joey?
It's still wrong. It doesn't matter which one it is. They're both wrong.
Why? They weren't first-round picks?
They were first-round picks.
Round,
but they weren't number 1 overall.
Nope. All right, so Chewy, you're out. Scals, you keep going until you miss now.
Wow, until I miss, huh? Let's go back and see. We've got the year that Mahomes was drafted. Who was the first quarterback taken that year?
What year was that? That seems back a ways.
Was it 16?
17? Because you had multiple quarterbacks taken there. Let's go back a little further. Jared Goff. Final answer?
Jared Goff, 2016 was drafted first overall.
Was drafted first overall.
We're missing 2017 and 2015.
2017. I think you're right. I don't think all of these guys were quarterbacks here. But who's taking front of Trubisky?
It's a great question. I wonder whom still
I think
was.
I know. No.
You never Trubisky, know. Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes. Who got taken first that year?
I love when Chewy says, I think I know. He almost never knows.
Shut up, Ash.
Well, I'll take... You don't get any more guesses to be wrong.
Mariota and Winston were too old. Sam Darnold was a number 2 overall pick. For Baker. Man.
I think I got it, Ashy.
I'm going to give Scouts 5 seconds to guess before I open it up.
Can Chewy guess for me?
Because I like seeing him wrong, sure.
Justin Herbert.
No. No, Herbert was like 10th overall.
And that was like 3 years ago.
But he should
I'm
have
going
been.
to kick myself on this.
Yeah. All right. So
Open it up.
800-990-3776. Who can complete the list? I will reset it while people have a chance to call in again. 800-990-3776.
You know what? I know.
You just remembered it, I bet. 2022, Trevon Walker. 2021, Trevor Lawrence. 2020, Joe Burrow. 2019, Kyler Murray. 2018, Baker Mayfield. 2017, we are missing. 2016, Jared Goff. 2015, we are missing. So we have 2 left, 2017 and 2015. Number 1 overall picks for the NFL draft in honor of tonight's draft.
Really could go for a pretzel. I was pulling for you.
Yeah,
I know a guy can get you pretzels.
I know one of those two now for sure. And I'm not allowed to give hints, right?
No hints.
We get yelled at.
All right. Okay. Well, I think it's a no-brainer. I think Bryce Young goes to number 1 tonight. That's what I think. I'm interested to see where the quarterbacks fall. The Packers want all 4 of those guys drafted in the top 10.
Yeah.
Right? You want as much talent outside of quarterback falling to you as possible.
Because then they have like the number 9 pick.
Yeah. We'll see what happens there.
I thought Stroud until the whole S2 cognitive test. But they're saying Will Levis? Possible? No?
I would bet the house that Will Levis doesn't go number 1 overall.
Top 10? Top 5?
He could be top 10. I mean,
Okay.
all it takes is one team. Let's go to Jeff in Greenfield. Jeff, what do you got?
Yes. Myles Garrett.
Yep, that was the one.
Miles Garrett is correct for 2017 now. Jeff, all we're missing, 2015. Do you know who it was?
That was the one that was killing me in 17.
2015.
Scalzo may or may not have accidentally already said it, thinking it was wrong.
Did I?
Yep.
Jameis Winston.
That is correct. 2015, Jameis Winston, number 1 overall pick.
Wow.
Really?
I thought that was earlier.
Way to go, Jeff. Jeff wins.
Congratulations, Jeff in Greenfield. You win top 8 at 8.
Is he still in New Orleans?
He,
Or with Carr there, did they let him go or not offer him a deal?
I would say he's not going to be material to an NFL team this year. I would say that about Jameis. I'm not sure exactly where he landed. But with the Packers at number 13, Chew, you've got a lot of work to do, right, in terms of filling different holes, trying to provide talent around Jordan Love. 2 second-round picks. You got 13.
Yeah.
You want to see him move up to try to grab an absolute stud and get their guy, or do you want to see him move back in order to try to accrue more picks, or do you want to see him right there at 13 and just take their guy?
I want to see him at 13 take their guy. Hopefully they use they pick at all 3 of those slots. I don't want them trading up. You just got to wait to see how the board plays out. But ideally 13, I want a playmaker. I don't want O-line. I think that 5, Yash has shown enough at the left tackle position, and he's going to get better, where I think he can play there. Zach Tom, I love him. I don't know if he can play right tackle. He's got more of a guard body. Do not want an O-line with that 13 pick. Playmaker, be it receiver or pass rusher. Don't want a tight end. That's too early. And then at 42, the Jets pick, or 45, take a tight end and another playmaker. If they can get 3 picks and don't have to do anything, that's money in the bank for me.
3 picks in the top 50, I think would bode well.
That would be money.
Bode well for them. But you're all about the playmaker. You don't like them solidifying that offensive line. I agree. I think pass rusher is a sneaky need that people aren't giving enough credit to.
Mm-hmm.
Preston Smith continues to be solid, but he gets older. Rashawn Gary, even if he does come back this season, I always think you look at a guy the second year off of an ACL tear, right, as opposed to the first year.
Yeah.
They never seem to be that same player right when they return. It takes a little while to get that athleticism back. I would love for them to take a pass rusher. I'm with you. I wouldn't like a tight end that early. Wide receiver is an interesting one. I think there's a little spite in there, right, against Aaron Rodgers. If you take a wide receiver, Jackson Smith and Jigba seems to be the one that is most NFL ready. A lot of people talking about Zay Flowers out of your alma mater, Boston College, who's a dynamo,
nice player,
energizer buddy type guy. But I do wonder if there's a trade down opportunity if Goody goes ahead and takes that and says, you know what? Maybe we can sneak from 13 down to 15 or down to 16, down to 17, down to 18, still get a Zay Flowers, still get a playmaker, add a pick as well. it's going to be really interesting to see how they move up and down the board for a draft that many people say in the first round is really like a draft of 15 to 20 first rounders. And then that second round grade seems to be sneaking up early in the back end of that first round.
I just look at it like this, Scals. The quicker you can get a receiver, a playmaker, who will be ready. We saw the top end of Watson this year. 41 catches. That's basically what you're going to get out of a receiver, not at best. It takes a receiver probably 3 years, if he's a good player, to be the man, right? Left tackle, I think you can plug in a rookie. I mean, we're all under the assumption next year they're probably going to have an early pick again, right? So then take a left tackle then, if you have to. Let's get our skills, get them acclimated to how fast this league works, and then, especially with the tight end, if they can get him, 3 years from now, you got Dobbs, you got Watson, you got who they pick with the 13th and the 42nd or 45th. I like that plan. I think that's a pretty damn good plan.
How much insurance would you want for the quarterback position in the sense of next year is supposed to be a really good quarterback draft? Now, I always caution that because it's always next year, right? Every draft, next year is the better draft. And the next year, there's these better prospects because nobody's really dug into the tape and seen some of the flaws. But do you try to keep some powder in the chamber to say if Love doesn't perform at the level that you're hoping he performs at this year, maybe next year you're back in that quarterback need from a draft standpoint, and you want to have some powder left to get back into a top 5 pick potentially next season for a quarterback?
Well, don't forget, they're going to have that other number 1. So if Jordan Love is a complete disaster,
you could have a top 15 pick again.
I'm talking complete disaster, 2-3 wins. You're going to have the first, second, or third pick probably, and the ammunition of that other first round pick to trade up to number 1 and get the quarterback you think that's going to be the next franchise quarterback here.
Do you think that this Packers team has a solid philosophy right now? Because the way you're talking, I think they seem like they're trying to thread a very tight needle to me in the sense of we want to be good enough, right? You bring back Aaron Jones. They didn't go ahead and let him walk. You still got D-Box. You still have enough talent on this team where you're paying out. You're not using this as a full rebuild reset year. But at the same time, you're not going all in, or not even all in, but you're not surrounding this team with veterans to the point where you're saying, hey, look, we're really trying to make the playoffs. It almost seems like Goody continues to have hope as a strategy to me, where they were hoping that Rodgers was going to retire, so they didn't have to make this decision, where he's hoping that either Jordan is that dude this year and they could start to build around him and really accelerate the process, or they're hoping that he busts. But they're not playing it as, hey, we're really building around Jordan in a meaningful way, and we're not really using this as a rebuild year, saying, you know what, we know we're going to have a top 10 pick for next year, and we're going to keep accruing talent. It seems like they're trying to do both at the same time.
They are, but the one thing they can't do right now is go into the free agency market because they're not cap healthy. Now, 2 years from now, they could be very cap healthy, and if Goody nails these drafts the next 2 years, they will be in great position, I said year 3, to make a push to get back in that Super Bowl mix. But everything hinges on Jordan Love. It does. It does. I mean, if they have to see enough that they can win a Super Bowl or be a contender for a Super Bowl with him, he doesn't have to be Brett. He doesn't have to be Aaron. He just has to be good enough. Get cap healthy, so when you know what kind of player he is, then you sprinkle things around. Address the defense with free agency instead of drafting, because the draft just hasn't worked out defensively, whether it's Joe Barry Carroll or it's these players just aren't being developed.
Yeah, that defense last year, the expectation of them being a top 5 defense and having most of that core return, and the expectation now is, can they just be a decent defense?
Yeah.
is a wild year-to-year swing for the Green Bay Packers. The NFL Draft kicks off tonight. You could be listening here on ESPN Milwaukee for all your draft coverage, live from the Q Club. It's one of your spots, Chewy.
That's my spot. Love it. Fish fries Wednesdays and Fridays. God, I wish there was a fish fry tonight. I'd crush it. I'll eat a leftover fish fry from Wednesday.
You're going to go in there when you're there tonight and ask? You're going to say, hey, do you guys have any leftovers from yesterday?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't believe you that you would eat that.
Fish fry?
A leftover one?
Oh, of course.
Cold, or you want to throw it in the oil for another 5 seconds just to warm it up?
That's a good point. Can you microwave fish?
You shouldn't. You absolutely. And if you do it at work, you should be fired. That's a commonplace rule. You do it at work, you should be fired immediately.
Draft tonight. The Bucs with a massive disappointment last night as they lose to the Heat in 5 games. Do you look at this season as a failure for the Milwaukee Bucks? And we haven't even got into the Aaron Rodgers comments from yesterday. I want to go there next. Can you get a hold of him? Does it have to be FaceTime? We'll see what Chew thinks about that next. Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, ESPN Milwaukee.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
We have an accident on the off-ramp to Layton Avenue from the northbound 94 collector ramp. So just be careful if you're heading through that area. That off-ramp is closed right now. Other than that, we've got backups eastbound on 94 heading in from the Zoo Interchange all the way through to the stadium. Westbound side's tightening up just a bit from 25th Street through the stadium as well. Traffic is brought to you by the Club at Lac La Belle, the birthplace of golf in Wisconsin. Go to club@laclabelle.com to start your journey. And check the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Mostly sunny, breezy, a high of 59 at the lake, 65 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 42. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga, 94.5 ESPN.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, sponsored by Ridgetop Exteriors on 94.5 ESPN.
Looking for the best way to welcome new teammates or business partners to your team? Look no further. 3 Tree Marketing is a full-service branded merchandise agency using creative merchandising to share your company's story. Be the envy of others with specialized gifting and onboarding kits from 3 Tree, an amazing opportunity to best showcase what a brand is all about. Work with a team that thinks outside the box and becomes an extension of your team. See what else 3 Tree Marketing can do for your team and set an appointment today. 3treemarketing.com.
Kessler's is America's largest employee-owned diamond store.
It's the diamond store where the owners think like you do.
As shoppers, we want better prices and more choices.
That's why we give you better prices and more choices.
We don't try to choose for you. We let you choose.
You can choose a diamond from a diamond mine.
A diamond as old as the earth itself.
You can choose a created diamond from a plasma chamber.
A diamond as new and fresh and sparkling as springtime.
And now you can choose a flickering firelight diamond.
Flickering firelight diamonds sparkle with a rich and regal golden glow.
At Kessler's, you choose from 3 different kinds of diamonds.
3 different kinds of diamonds.
Earth diamonds from diamond mines.
Created diamonds from plasma chambers.
And flickering firelight diamonds with a rich, regal golden glow.
We like to have choices, so we give you choices.
Kessler's is the diamond store where the owners think like you do.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Find the Kessler's nearest you at Kessler'sDiamonds.com.
Potawatomi Casino Hotel is bringing 24/7 sports betting to the great city of Milwaukee with the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Enjoy the convenience of self-service kiosks, odds boards, wall-to-wall TVs, free parking, great food, and a full-service bar. Put your game face on. It is time to bet big, bet bold at Potawatomi Sportsbook.
This far into rush hour traffic, most people would have rage accelerated at least once. But not you, Lacey No Hard Accelerations Ever Johnson, because you are a safe driver. And like most drivers who sign up for Snapshot from Progressive, which customizes your rate for how and how much you drive, you could earn a discount for your good driving. So if your hula dancing dashboard doll thinks you're going to hard accelerate because you're running late, then your hula dancing dashboard doll doesn't know. Lacey No Hard Accelerations Ever Johnson. Sign up for Snapshot today.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in all states or from all agents.
Broken bricks, falling fences, damaged doors, Gorilla Glue. Of course. It's incredibly strong and 100% waterproof and bonds, well, virtually everything. While you're at it, look for Gorilla Tape, a heavy-duty double-thick duct tape, and Gorilla Super Glue, great for all your quick fixes and repairs. There's also Gorilla Epoxy, Gorilla Wood Glue, Gorilla Construction Adhesive, of course. You get it. If you can break it, Gorilla can fix it. for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Was it a mistake?
Yep.
Ashy bashy.
Yep.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
You didn't even know what the hell I said.
You asked if it was a mistake.
What was a mistake?
Was a mistake? Go back to soccer.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Bucks lose last night. Massive disappointment. Don't let Giannis hear you call it a failure. But the NFL draft kicks off tonight, and Aaron Rodgers was introduced yesterday as the newest quarterback, the newest member of the New York Jets. And what most people are talking about is the he said about the communication or lack thereof from Brian Gutekunst and the Packers to Aaron Rodgers. Here's what Aaron Rodgers said in response to Goody saying, I was trying to get a hold of Aaron. He didn't answer.
I don't know if I need to really get into the specifics. I will say people that know me, I'm fortunate to live in a beautiful house. The only downside is I have very limited cell service. So if you want to get a hold of me, I have to see your face. You got to FaceTime me. So the only response to the communication thing is there's, records in your phone about who called you, when, FaceTime, and there wasn't any specific FaceTimes from any of those numbers that I was looking at. That's neither here nor there because we're at this position. Obviously, that's somehow, what the direction they wanted to go as far as they couldn't get a hold of me, which led for this to be the case. My point was, if there was a change that wanted to be made, why wasn't that told to me early in the off season?
When you think about it, this is really stupid. It's like third grader stuff. You mean to tell me that Aaron Rodgers can't text or receive texts in his house? Come on.
Was he texted?
Well, the Packers saying, "Hey, give me a call when you get a chance." He's not receiving it just seems so bush league. Now, the one shot that I loved, and we talked about it a little yesterday on the show, is he going to be as vindictive as Favre? And I think he is. He's just going to code it better than Brett, because Brett really shouldn't text anymore. It's really a bad thing.
Yes.
But when he said, "Yeah, I'm going to be here for the off season and get it going," that had to sting Packer fans.
There was a few things that he said that I thought were meant to sting. Like, let me ask you, right? You've been in these rooms before. Him lauding the leadership style of Robert Saleh, talking about him as a true alpha, somebody who commands the room.
Yeah, that's a zing.
That's a shot at LaFleur, right?
Yes. And then we talked about yesterday his little thank you to everyone. He had to put Goody in there, but he put him at the very bottom.
Yeah.
That's a zing.
The fact that he said this team in the New York Jets is one that he feels like is prepared and ready to win a Super Bowl based on them coming to Green Bay and whooping on the Packers last year felt like a straight slight at Goody and the Packers for being willing to just say, yeah, we're going to win 8 or 9 games for these few years while we retool, versus the Jets going all in. It seemed like everything he was saying about the Jets was really coded to say what was missing with his time with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. Have we polled it, Ashton, whether people want him to succeed or not?
We have not polled it. I know Willie Tausch did, but I can poll it right now for us. I'll put it on the poll.
Do you think people want him to succeed? Did we want Favre to succeed?
I think Favre, there's a lot more people that wanted him to succeed than Rodgers.
Because it's the Jets and we really don't care. They're not in our division.
I also think the way that things ended, right? Where Packers fans wanted Favre back. They didn't want Rodgers back.
No.
I think that when Favre retired and then said, actually, I want to keep playing, that was different than Rodgers basically saying my intention is to play for the New York Jets. And I think the Packers also approached this a lot differently from a PR standpoint, where they made Rodgers into a villain pretty early on in this process versus it felt like Favre was getting squeezed out, where the Packers made it, to their credit, seem like Rodgers has wanted out for years.
So 7-8 years from now, when he goes into the Packer Hall of Fame, he's not selling out Lambeau.
No.
Like Brett did
also
for
I mean, you tell me, Chewy, you've been here throughout it. Do you feel the same emotional connection with Packers fans to Favre as Packers fans to Rodgers?
No. But I think that's more Rodgers really isn't a Wisconsin kind of guy. I mean, we were knuckleheads, man. We were knuckleheads. We didn't care if we just beat someone. We're going to Water Street, right?
Yeah.
Or we're going to downtown Green Bay. We don't care. Just stick us in a corner, keep a few people from the fans getting, and we loved it. We called San Francisco when we played out there wine and cheese fans, where Packer fans are beer and brat. He just fit more of the wine and cheese, you know?
I think personality has a lot to do with it, and I think that the fact that Favre brought the franchise back to glory hardened a lot of those emotions more so than Rodgers, which felt like a continuation of greatness, right? Like Barry Alvarez is going to hold a different place in Badgers fans' heart because he brought that program back than anyone else that's going to have success that follows.
Do you think that Aaron Rodgers is getting in a fight with David Bakhtiari in the middle of a Christmas tree farm with the governor there watching?
No, I do not.
I wish he would have, though. That would have been awesome.
Yeah. I drilled him with a tree. It was great. You didn't even see it coming. The governor's like, Tommy Thompson's like, what did I get myself into here?
You drilled Brett with a tree.
Yeah.
Did he deserve it?
Of course he did.
All right. Then hey, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Did he try to fight you after that?
He tried. Kind of walking not really a straight line, but we had fun. And then we turned it on Frankie. Yeah, so I think that's why he's loved, you know.
I agree, and I think the ayahuasca and the mushrooms and the panchakarma and the darkness retreat and the COVID, there's so much noise.
He's just not relatable. Like that's what it comes down to. I think everything Chewy just explained is he is not a relatable person, which kind of sucks because you want to root for him.
Yeah, you do.
Until you realize, oh, I'm not like him at all.
Beanie and Bayview says, I want him to have success as a human being, happiness, fulfillment, etc., because I still respect and appreciate everything he's done. But as a football player, I want him to stink it up. I think that's going to be generally the consensus from a lot of Packers fans out there. We'll hear more from what Aaron Rodgers had to say. Plus, we want to keep hearing from you. 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. Where does the series loss for the Bucs rank as the most disappointing in Wisconsin sports history? And would you call it a failure? Because Giannis wouldn't. It is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on ESPN Milwaukee.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN. It's a new era for the green and gold.
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
And we're hitting the ground running on night one of the draft. Join us as we broadcast live from Q Club of Wisconsin on Thursday night starting at 6. Homer Tausch, Jason Wilde, Ben Brust, and the full Jen, Gabe, and Chewy crew will be reacting to the picks and talking about the future in Green Bay. Draft night on 94.5 ESPN, live from Q Club of Wisconsin in Waukesha.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
According to American writer H.L. Mencken, a well-stocked bar can create over 17 billion different cocktails. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. I don't know if 17 billion is accurate or not, but I do know that Discount Liquor is the place to find everything you need to be well-stocked for any occasion. Discount Liquor is Wisconsin's home to over 2,000 varieties of beer, 3,500 types of liquor, and over 8,000 wines. Our unparalleled selection is rivaled only by our incredible savings and everyday low prices. And we know how to take care of our customers, no matter the occasion. In fact, Discount Liquor has won numerous national and local awards. Visit Discount Liquor at our Milwaukee or Waukesha locations. Family owned and operated since 1960.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
In Milwaukee on 51st in Oklahoma, and in downtown Waukesha on Main and Barstow. Check out our specials at discountliquorinc.com.
Kevin Moret here from Mentality Men's Health. Guys, did you know that the stored belly fat reduces your free testosterone? The more the belly grows, the harder it is to drop, mostly because of the decrease in free T. It's a vicious cycle that men are losing, and unfortunately, everyone can see it. Mentality breaks that cycle with semaglutide, an industry-changing weight loss medication that can help you lose up to 15% of your body weight while preserving your testosterone. Join our over 20,000 clients to look and feel the way you deserve. In Milwaukee, go to lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention veterans, active duty military, civilians, and contractors. If you were issued earplugs between 1999 and 2015 and were diagnosed with hearing loss or ringing in the ears, you may be entitled to compensation. The manufacturer of these military earplugs recently paid $9.1 million to resolve claims that their earplugs were defective, potentially exposing service members to damaging sound levels that could have resulted in hearing loss or tinnitus. If you or a loved one were issued earplugs and were diagnosed with tinnitus or hearing loss, don't wait. You fought for this country, and our attorneys want to fight for you. Call 800-725-0565 now for a free legal consultation and to see if you may be eligible to file a claim. Time restrictions may apply, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. So call 800-725-0565 now. Again, 800-725-0565. That's 800-725-0565.
Life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance because you'll feel protected no matter how the wind blows. All so you can keep enjoying the home of your dreams. And our expert agents can help you save up to 23% when you bundle home with auto. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. American Family Insurance. Get a quote? Find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
You called them a white stiff earlier.
From one white stiff to another? I'm pretty well versed in the realm of stiffs.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Here we go.
A convergence of three massive stories in Wisconsin sports. Aaron Rodgers, no longer a Packer after 15 years, starting 18 years with the organization, 4 MVPs, 1 Super Bowl trophy. He's introduced as the starting quarterback of the New York Jets yesterday in New York. Meanwhile, the Bucs last night finished their collapse as they fall in 5 games to the Miami Heat. A massive disappointment. Giannis insists it's not a failure because it is just another step in the journey to ideally get back. Chewy, you think that? You think of that how?
As a, what did I call it?
I think you called it crap.
Yeah, you said it was dumb.
I did.
Yeah, you said it was dumb.
Epic failure, right?
Yes.
Are we 0 for 2 right now, though?
What do you
I mean,
mean?
with the Rodgers trade, we got 3 big stories. Rodgers trade, we lose out on, kind of. Bucks lose.
Bucks lose, and then you got the NFL draft tonight.
I know,
which
but
could be a win.
what if they take a punter with the 13th pick?
Well, that would
then
be,
we're 0 for 3.
That would be very bad.
Well, hold on, Chewy, realistically, what pick could they take where you're like, are you kidding me? Like, what
O-line.
position?
I don't want O-line. I don't want O-line. You can find O-linemen in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, develop them. You need to get these skill player, receiver, tight end, acclimated to this league, and you're not going to do it in 1 year. So the quicker we get them, the better those skills are going to be in 3 years. That's my point.
Now, you look at it in terms of first-round picks, and 15 of their last 19 first-round picks for the Packers have been either quarterback, tackle, defensive line, edge, and cornerback. We can rule quarterback out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you look at it and say tackle, defensive line, edge rusher, cornerback tends to be the positions they value the most to draft in the first round. Out of those, it sounds like edge is the one that you'd be accepting of.
Edge I would like because Preston Smith will not be around for the push if they get there in a couple years, so he needs to be replaced, coupled with the fact Rashard Gary is – I don't think he's going to be ready for the start of the season halfway through. And obviously he's creeping on the 5th-year option. You saw a couple like Chase Young yesterday. You see they didn't exercise his 5th-year option?
Yeah.
I mean, that shocked me. So that's kind of a position of need. I don't want a corner. We have enough corners.
There's been a lot of capital
Yeah,
invested
a lot
in
of
the
capital
quarterback
invested in the
position.
corners. Just give me skills.
Now, the Packers do have 12 picks in the NFL draft. That's tied with the most alongside the Texans and the Raiders for this draft. So Goody has the ammo to be able to work the board as he wants to. I still think Goody's tenure and his future is completely tied to the success or failure of Jordan Love. But these 12 picks, this draft, following the trade of Devontae Adams last year and the trade of Aaron Rodgers this year, this is it for him, right? Like, this is everything on the line for him to be able to build the team that he wants to build and the image that he wants to build it.
Yeah, him and LaFleur are on the clock, you know.
It seems like LaFleur has no part in this, though. I mean, you listen to what Jason Wilde says about that relationship. It seems like LaFleur has very minimal input into who the Packers bring in from an NFL draft standpoint.
That was kind of the same with Mike. Mike wasn't really in the loop. You know, he got his input, and he went where the coaches helped out the draft. They went out and evaluated. You know, I don't know if they do that. It doesn't really sound like
they did not have any
anymore,
of the coaching staff,
which is weird.
The combine in Indianapolis. That was generally Goody leading the way. Now, you ask if Packers fans are going to be rooting for Aaron Rodgers as he moves to New York, plays for the Jets. Phil and Cedarburg joins us, and Jen, Gabe, and Chewy here on ESPN Milwaukee. Phil, what say you?
Yeah, I think this is almost the best case scenario. I get to follow Aaron Rodgers' career in the Jets, a chance to win a Super Bowl. And then I find great entertainment too with bad teams. So I think the Packers are going to be so painfully bad. I'm gonna have so much laugh and joy, and it's gonna give me so much fun laughter that's going to be great on that side too. But what I want to say about Rodgers, I love the guy. He's my favorite Packer of all time. It's sad he can't finish his career with the Packers. It's not Rodgers' fault that's not happening, by the way. And you know that Instagram post he did. It actually surprised me. It made my daughter cry. She's a 13-year-old girl. It made her cry. And so I got nothing but respect for the guy. And this is, you said he's not relatable. I find him the most relatable person in the NFL. Now, granted, I'm probably smarter than most people that watch football, so I'm a higher intelligent person.
Me too, Phil.
But I find it.
You sound like Aaron.
The world's crazy. The world is crazy, man.
Oh, yeah.
The Earth is spinning. We're flying through space. People are dying from disease, guns, fentanyl. The world is crazy. So I don't know how people can't be more like Aaron, trying to figure out this nonsense of this crazy world. So I'm a 100% Aaron guy. I appreciate everything about him, and I wish him nothing but the best.
Thank you, Phil in Cedarburg, a masochist who's probably read The Doors of Perceptions in the psychedelic experience. So I appreciate that.
What a way to end the show.
Chew, as we get ready to hand things off to Wilde and Tausch here, your final thoughts on the Bucs loss, and what are you most excited about for the NFL draft tonight?
It's going to be very interesting how the Bucs move forward. What will they do with Bud? You have Chris Middleton decision around the corner. And the draft, I want 3 players, 3 picks, 13, 42, 45. That's pretty good. If he lands 2 of them, Scals, that's a good draft.
Agreed?
Yeah.
He's got the ammo. Now he's just got to make the most of it.
No, I'm saying land 2 as far as
Successful.
starters that are players. One's going to crap out. I'm good with that. It's a good batting average in football.
Well, we'll find out in about 3 years, but we'll be able to prognosticate tonight. Once again, stay tuned all day today here on ESPN Wisconsin. Plus, tonight we got draft coverage live from Q Club, including this guy, Mark Chumura. So we've got Wilde and Tausch coming up next. Big thanks to Ashley. Big thanks to Mark. Big thanks to you all. Lots to talk about.
We are looking pretty good for the most part. Our biggest delay is going to be on 94 eastbound